Hey, Deb. Good morning, everybody. And Debbie. So glad you guys are here. I'm Pastor Ken Vance. I'm the senior pastor here at Vertical Church. And today, before I get into what we're going to share, I just want to take a moment and celebrate for a moment. How many of you had the opportunity yesterday? You were at the Dream Team Day Out. How many people were there? Man, was that not an awesome event? That's the way we celebrate our Dream Team, which is at Vertical Church. That's all the volunteers that make this place happen. And it's our way of saying thank you. It's our way of showing appreciation. It's our way of investing back into the people who make this place what it is. So we thank you all that have been a part. And if you've not been a part of that, man, there's room on the Dream Team for you. But we had a blast yesterday. I had more fun than it's humanly possible to experience. And I'm thankful to all the guys that helped me teach some teenagers a little humility about soccer, okay? Because I got a chance to live my passion, okay? We had a blast. We had a fun time. It was great. And it was just great to fellowship. We experienced a little bit of community. Yesterday was a little experience of a glimpse of what heaven's like. So, man, that was just fantastic. It was a great time to celebrate together. So today, listen, before I get into it, let me just say this. If you're visiting here for the first time today, today's not going to be a normal kind of service. I have a big announcement we're going to be doing. It's a part of the series we've been in, but, we're not going to be turning to Bible scriptures. We're not going to go through all that. You can come back next week, and we'll be right back into the mix of all that. But today is a special announcement. When we began this series called Community by Design, I told you that on the 25th, we had a big reveal, a big announcement that we wanted everybody to be a part of. And so today is that day. And so today, the announcement that I want to share with you is that after much prayer and after much consultation with leaders and our trustees and visiting other locations and visiting other church opportunities, what we've determined that it's time to not just remodel, but redesign our facility here at Vertical Church. So we're going to be going into a project called the Community by Design Project. Yeah, that is worth a clap. Go ahead, give it a shout. Because listen, all of you helped make this possible. Almost 2 years ago, in our first gift of Christmas, part of that, we raised money for the redesign of our concourse because it's needed it desperately, and we've known that, okay? So the money that was contributed gave us the ability to hire a company called Live Design. Live Design gave us the ability with our leaders to work through a floor plan, to come up with a new design that would accommodate, because what we want our space to do is reflect our values. Okay? And so in essence, once we had a working plan, we brought a GC into the mix. The GC began to help us, evaluate it and cost engineer it so that we can make it all, economically feasible and all the rest of that end. And then once we went from that end, we began the project design where we brought an actual architect in to begin to design for us. Because again, it's about community, and we want our facility to reflect that value. So, the very first question I want to answer for all of you is, why would we redesign our concourse? If you would, turn your attention to the screen. It's got a little video I want to show you about that. Hey everybody, we're excited to share with you about a new project called Community by Design. We believe God has called His church to be about creating environments where authentic community can take place. We all need community. We are in a society living in isolation, seldom enjoying the benefits of meaningful relationships. We desire to build environments where opportunities for relationships can begin and community can be fostered. We believe that the church is a relational community that was designed to grow together. Spiritual growth is a process, and maturity is measured by the growth of our vertical relationship with God and our horizontal relationship with one another. Therefore, our goal is to help people grow in their intimacy with God, community with insiders, and influence with outsiders. We believe to help us achieve these goals, we need to remodel our concourse. We want our common space to reflect the values and promote these ideals. Let me answer the question, why remodel the concourse? A couple of years ago, we hired a firm that's a division of Outreach Magazine called Faith Concepts. They evaluate churches through their mystery guest evaluation service and provide a written report of how your church experience was from an unchurched person's experience. We wanted the demographic of those visiting us to be both multicultural and multi-generational. It took a period of about 6 months to accomplish this, in that the request for multicultural and multi-generational was uncharacteristic of their normal request. Well, we were evaluated by 16 individuals on their experience at Vertical Church in 16 different categories. The good news was that our overall rating was very positive, and we rated high in comparison to other churches. But what we discovered was that individuals who liked the experience of our service became frustrated once the service ended. They did not know where they could go to get further information about the church and what it offered, and they did not know who they should talk to, and the congestion and the chaos in the concourse was a problem for them. Therefore, what we concluded was that we were leaving our guests, which we were working so hard to attract to our church, frustrated due to infrastructure problems in our facility. We needed to solve this problem because often people remember their last impression when leaving a venue as a determination of whether they'll return or not, which means even if the experience of the service was positive, if leaving was a negative experience, it can often override the positive experience they had in their decision to return. That means our current concourse design creates a major challenge for our guests we're looking to reach. We acted on all the information from the report we could to make their experience better. We created teams on our dream team, like our awesome parking lot team, to help in ways we could. But the last issue to address is infrastructure, the design of our building. Let me talk to us for a minute about the retention rate of the people coming to Vertical Church. In 2015, we had 591 first-time guests. 237 of those returned for a second visit. We had 127 people make decisions to join Vertical Church as a member. We had 97 people who were moved from the status of visitor to friend. A friend is someone who attends regularly, but for whatever reasons, have not decided to officially join the church as a member. We had 254 people respond to our invitation at the end of our services to make first-time decisions for Christ. And we had an additional 264 people respond to our invitation and reconnect their lives to Christ. Let's talk about 2016 for a moment. Year to date, we've had 394 first-time guests, 175 guests returned for a second visit, 124 people responded to our invitation for first-time decisions for Christ, and 188 more made decisions to recommit their lives to Christ. So far, 61 people have joined as members this year, and 87 have moved their status from visitor to friend. These numbers are great, but we believe we can do even better. Again, when we ask the question, why remodel the concourse? We must remember the importance of both first and last impressions. As most customer service organizations understand, they need to have highly attractive common spaces for people who visit their organizations and consider doing business with them. If you think of hotels, banks, car dealerships, and the like, before people decide to invest, they need to feel comfortable with the level of excellence and care displayed by the way the organization represents itself. The common space of any organization shows the value they place on guests. It communicates to them whether the organization was expecting anyone new or not. How much more as churches should we care because people we desire to reach means so much to God? We should do everything in our power to communicate hospitality, care, warmth, excellence, because our guests are valuable, and we don't want our environment to be a distraction to our message or allow the setting to derail ministry before it even happens. Most churches who are leading the way in reaching the unchurched community have understood this and made the investment. In our Community by Design project, we want to create space with our guests in mind. That would include information areas that are well marked and free of congestion. We want to create community space where people can sit in a comfortable setting and talk.
It creates space for members who bring guests to be able to sit with them and spend time with their guests in a nice environment and answer any questions they might have, introduce them to others, or just enjoy their time together. It's a space that allows guests to acclimate to the church setting. We want to create guest service ministry for after-service encounters, where the team will look out for guests and be available to answer questions, provide tours, offer information, provide a personal touch for our guests instead of just a guest services counter. With the new space, we will also have space for information racks that are visible with helpful information about the church. We plan with this project to relocate our cafe to the main concourse, making it more visible and accessible. We have designed an open floor plan and realized that our cafe is a very low-key way to make guests feel welcome. We will be repurposing our current cafe for our volunteers. It will become our new Dream Team Central, where Dream Team members can have meetings, pick up information, get refreshments, relax between duties, and stay connected to the main service through the flat screens available in the room. Also, in our Community by Design project, we are designing space with our members in mind. We want to provide space for community to happen. In this space, we want the opportunity for members to connect and begin to build relationships or strengthen current ones. We want to provide the opportunity for ministry to happen organically as people pray for one another, encourage one another, and give time and opportunity for the Holy Spirit to move in and through their lives as we take time to love one another. As members have a chance to remain for a while and connect in an inviting space, it can also allow time for our parking lot to clear before exiting so that leaving is far easier. This new space for our members will also be a place to be proud to bring friends, family, and people we invite to church. We want to make our common space easier for our members with less congestion for things like signups and resource opportunities. We also want to provide some interactive kiosks to serve our members, hoping to save time and provide convenience for them. Ultimately, we want this new space to reflect the high priority and value we place on relationships. Community was the purpose for which God created the universe. We were created to experience meaningful relationships with God and with others. That is God's highest priority for man. Therefore, we want to foster space in environments that allow the opportunity for that to happen organically. Our current space does not support the value of community. Relationships can take time, and they happen in stages. Meeting at church and having the opportunity to get to know people there can be a natural way to begin. It's kind of like the idea that many people have about dating. A first date might be to have coffee together and see if there's any real connection. And if so, then you can ask them to have dinner together. That means the initial meeting for coffee is less of a commitment than dinner and easier and of less pressure to get a feel for the relational dynamic. Meeting and spending time at church can be a lot less pressure and commitment for getting to know someone before you might go out with them or have them over to your home. We believe that the Bible places a great emphasis on community, and we want our facility to communicate that priority. Our current space only provides room in our sanctuary, which can communicate, whether directly or indirectly, that only what happens in there is important. We want to change that. What happens in the sanctuary is important, but so does the connection of the body and community. We believe life change happens in the context of relationships. Therefore, we want to foster opportunities for the body to connect. Scripture says that when all the parts fit together and each part supplies, then the body grows and builds itself up in love. Our current concourse is not inviting and generally communicates that it's just a place to leave. The current design of our building was built based on a dual use for a school and a church. Those conditions have changed. Our current design is not conducive for a growing church model. We believe that to not change our space is an irresponsible use of the space when attempting to attract guests, promote community, and allow the opportunity for ministry to happen organically as the body intersects and learns to love one another. Our current design has problems we discovered after being in the space for many years. First, our present parking lot cannot support a full sanctuary. A full parking lot translates to only 900 to 1,000 seats full, with the exception of special events. We have only one egress off our property, and that was a condition of our permit to build. There's no way to provide a positive egress experience for a guest when they would have to wait in long lines to leave the parking lot. No matter how positive the experience might have been in the service, there's no way someone who's not been used to attending church will consider doing that each week. Therefore, our plan is to reduce the sanctuary and open up the common space. It helps solve that problem. In fact, in the current design, our concourse cannot support a full sanctuary of 1,500 seats when it lets out without great chaos and congestion. The atmosphere after a service can be chaotic. Gaining information and making meaningful connection is difficult at best. The space was designed to simply move people in and move them out. And that is something we believe our new design will correct. Lastly, our current space desperately needs to be updated. There are major signs of wear and tear in many places. Our style is outdated and our bathrooms are woefully unpleasant. Our common spaces do not communicate excellence. They do not communicate community. They do not communicate that we were expecting any guests. The time has come for us to update and renovate our space. Therefore, the question shouldn't be, why remodel the concourse? The question should be, why would we not want to remodel the concourse? Why not us, and why not now?
Man, that's exciting, isn't it? So let's talk about what we're going to do. If you look with me, this is our current layout and space that we have right now. This is the way it was built, and you can see that our concourse areas, which is what's highlighted in here, this is kind of congested at present. So the plan is to open up, to have a full open floor plan so that we would take down the walls in our media center, take down the walls in our chapel. We would still keep our baptismal so that we can have baptismal services that are open. But all of this, and we were going to come into our sanctuary for a bit, so that all of this space provides for community an opportunity to really build a good experience for members and guests when they come here, okay? And so we've designed in here some gathering spaces. First one, this is on the east side of our concourse. This would be across from where our children's church check-in is. It's a space here with a fireplace and other areas of gathering where people can sit, talk, have fellowship together, and just connect in meaningful ways before they exit out of the building. There's also one design on the west side across from where we're going to move our cafe. Again, the opportunity is to provide space that makes it easy, even for members, to take time to get to know or talk to other people, connect before they leave so that the parking lot can easily clear out. We're going to move our cafe out into the main one because we're going to repurpose the cafe that we built a few years ago, back in 2008. We're going to make that our volunteer central. That's where our Dream Team Central is going to be. We're going to give that space so that our volunteers, they can enjoy that area, because the one that they've currently been using is going to be a part of where we're opening up space. But in this, it's an open floor plan where more people can go to it, more people can enjoy it, and they can take their drinks and stuff and go out into the other areas and sit and have time and fellowship with others. We're also building a big information area, okay, that's off the beaten track. Right now, where there's information available is in the smallest part of our concourse, which makes it heavily congested and somewhere that's not very inviting to get information from. This, where it's going to be located, go back to that last one. Where this will be located will be visible from wherever you walk into the building, so people will know where that is. In that place, that there is also some seating opportunities. We are planning to put some kiosks and information areas that service our members and our guests for easy sign-ups, for other opportunities to do. So it doesn't demand it always having to wait for information that way. But that information space is designed for people to be able to talk, for people to be able to hear, for people to be able to get all that they need and service where they're at. We're going to have the next one we go to, they're going to have a larger children's check-in area. And now, because there's no longer walls in our media center, in our chapel, I'm sorry. Thanks, babe. There is more area for check-in. Also opportunities for family space. When families are coming with their children and they don't have to wait in long lines, there's areas where families can kind of fellowship and gather together. And everybody can check in. Plenty of opportunity, far more space to leave, again, congestion in lines. We're leaving the altar area in the back up because might be musical events at times, but the baptism will remain. All of this is to open and broaden it so that the space is not limiting, but open, okay? We're also building in this plan small group rooms. As you know, we placed a large emphasis on small groups because we believe that life change happens in the context of relationships. So we're turning 2 of the classrooms that were once in existence there into 4 small group rooms. In these small group rooms, there will be a hallway with 4 rooms available on this end. The whole design plan is like on our current 113. We want to make them like living rooms because we want people to be able to commune and to be in a setting, in a situation that just provides the natural opportunity for lives to open and people to connect. Okay? I just think it's exciting. I think it's great. We want to be able to promote community at every level that we can. Okay? So, what will this cost? Well, having worked through it with our GC, having value engineered it down, well, we believe the entire scope of the project will be about $2 million. Okay? That's similar to what we had done a few years ago. We had a plan it started in 2008, we called Moving Forward. And that project cost us around the same amount in that end. So, how will we pay for it? That's the next question. How will we pay for it? But before I answer that, let me tell you 2 different stories which are exciting. The first one, if you were here back in 2008, you know we went into a 3-year capital campaign called Moving Forward. During that period of time, people from Vertical Church pledged $2.1 million over a 3-year period towards all the different things that happened. And what changed during that time? You that were here before that, you know, and I'm going to take you back through it, and if you're brand new, maybe you never knew what this place was like before. But the first area, we changed our children's area, okay? Our children's check-in used to look like this. We made it look like this. There you go. Okay? We also made our preschool area, this is what it used to look like, and now this is what it looks like. Okay? In our children's church, this is what our children's church used to look like, and now this is what it looks like. And then we have an area where we call Area 56. This is an area where it's been, as we continue to evaluate how ministry best happens, this is a space that we originally created as a gaming area, but then we decided, no, it was better for ministry to break out 5th and 6th graders in this area, so we redesigned it even into another auditorium because we had already transformed it from classrooms into open space that gave us that flexibility where ministry can happen. If you are also here, what else changed? This is what our teen center used to look like, and this is what our teen center looks like now. Okay? Now, also, this is what our sanctuary used to look like, and this is what our sanctuary looks like now. During that design, we created some much-needed space. We built our growth track room. We built a bookstore over on this end. We needed massive space for storage that we didn't have, a whole host of things that have really outfitted us and helped. We fixed the sound in this room to make the experience wonderful for the people who were here. We also, this used to be our bookstore. Anybody remembers back in those days? And what did? We turned it into our cafe. which will eventually become our Dream Team Central, okay? But this has been the cafe in the last few years. If you were here and you remember, this is what the front of our property used to look like, and this is what it became. This is what the front of the property looked like on the other side, and this is what it became. It gave us the ability to flatten it, to make it available, whereby we were able to landscape it and provide some much needed signage and make the first presentation of excellence for people driving by and for all who first enter this place. And how was all that possible? Because of the people's generosity here at Vertical Church through our Moving Forward campaign. Moving forward, we were able to do, listen to this, guys, it's exciting. All that we did through Moving Forward, we did with no debt whatsoever. We finished all that, no debt, okay? Because what we established during that time, because it was a capital campaign, we had a line of credit, which we used through that period. We ended up paying off all that we did, all the changes that we made, and therefore we added nothing to it, okay? We had, again, $2.1 million that were pledged to that campaign. 67% of that came in, which most experts said was excellent, fantastic. So $1.4 million came in through that end, but bottom line, through all that we did and everything else, we didn't add anything on that end. This project, we will not approach through a traditional capital campaign because this project will only take about 6 months to accomplish. So, how will we do it? Before I tell you again, second story. When we moved to this building, we took out a $5 million mortgage to make what we built here and all that needed to happen possible. Well, I've got good news for you, because by the time we go in to our Community by Design project, before it's all completed, we will have paid off our mortgage in full. 0 debt. That is exciting. And how's that possible? Because of the generosity of the people of Vertical Church. So that's exciting. So how are we going to do this one? How are we going to pay for what's here? Again, what I've first done is I've gotten us a commitment for a conventional mortgage of $2 million. But what are we also going to do is give the opportunity for our congregation to be involved. We're going to have 4 special offerings. 4 opportunities for our people to contribute towards this project, okay? We're going to have one at the end of October. We're going to commit the entirety of our first gift of Christmas, which happens during the Christmas season. This year, all of it will go towards the Community by Design project. Then we'll have our third offering somewhere at probably the end of March. And the last special offering will be when the project is completed, approximately in July. And all of that, in those 4 offerings, all that come in during that time will reduce. Because if you've ever built before, when you go into a building project, you have a construction loan. And when you have finished at the end of the construction period, whatever your loan amount is, you convert it into a conventional mortgage. We're believing that the money that's raised through all the special offerings that will transpire will reduce the amount that we'll actually have to mortgage. And I don't put anything over on God. We may not have to mortgage anything. But here's the deal. So that's exciting, okay? So again, let me walk you through what's the time frame for the construction project. We're going to begin physical construction in January of 2017. So just in a few months, we're going to start. It's going to happen in 3 phases. It will not interrupt Sunday morning celebrations at all. Every part of the phase, that's why they're phasing the way they're doing it, so that it gives egress for all the people coming in and out on Sunday celebrations. But on Wednesday nights, because our teen center has their own entrance points on them, it will not interrupt our teen services whatsoever. So those they'll be able to meet. But all other Wednesday night activities will be limited during the period of construction, okay? And again, construction period we're believing is going to be ended by July. They're estimating 6 months for this to take place. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go as a congregation on a spiritual journey. For the month of October, I had all of the pastors here at Vertical Church write devotions. And we put together a devotional for all the families here at Vertical Church. What we're asking you to do is to take time together as a family and just spend some time with God, with the Word of God, and in prayer together. That as a community, we would talk about this, and here's what we're asking you to do. To seek God specifically. Lord, what part would you have me to play? What would you want me to contribute above and beyond what I normally give? Because I just simply want to know, what are you asking? Because all we're asking people to do at Vertical Church is whatever God places on their heart to do. So let me simplify it. What we're asking you to do is to seek God sincerely and simply obey Him. Because we believe that it is in obedience that God brings His greater blessings into our lives. And we believe that all of us, as the scripture says, when the body jointly fit together and every part supplies, it makes increase. There is always the reality that God provides. How does He do so? Through His people. And when His people do, we experience those opportunities that only God can do when we work together to achieve His goals. So, through this period of time, we're asking you to spend time with your family, to sincerely seek and ask God, and do whatever He gives you to do. Whatever comes into your heart to do, obey that, because we believe that God's greatest blessings are in the obedience to those simple requests that He lays. Because guess what, guys? None of us brought anything into this world. Last time I checked, none of us are taking anything out. We steward over whatever God places under our care, and when we're faithful to those ends, we lay up treasures in heaven. And so, we're going to take that time. Then, the last Sunday of October, there are 5 Sundays in October, okay? The last Sunday of October, we're going to have a special celebration that day. That day is going to have, we're going to have a simple message, and we're going to have our first offering towards the Community by Design project. And then we're all going to take some time to have food, fun, and fellowship as we celebrate together as a church family. Amen? And so, I'm excited, guys. I just believe our future's bright. So let me talk to you for a moment as I end about the future of Vertical Church. Because again, why would we encroach into the sanctuary? Why would we take away certain seats? Well, if you didn't understand correctly, our parking lot cannot support a full sanctuary. It's impossible. Because whenever we have filled it, we've done it through special productions, and guess what? People have parked here and off-site. And if you remember how long it takes to clear it, can you imagine doing that every week? No, what we believe is that we can multiply service opportunities here and make more opportunities for people to be able to do in a way that provides community space and those things. But let me also talk to you about this. At Vertical Church, we have a multi-site strategy. In other words, we have been looking to create, this is our primary campus, other campuses of Vertical Church in cities in this state to reach more people for Christ. Because we believe that the days of people traveling distances to come to one location is not feasible. And reaching people who going to church is not currently a part of their habit. You say, do these cities need more churches? We don't believe they need another church. Sometimes we believe they just need another kind of church. And the kind of church that Vertical Church is, a multicultural, multi-generational, life-giving church that makes the gospel accessible in such relevant ways, we believe can reach a certain segment of people that maybe others haven't been able to reach. But we want to be able to multiply that reality and reach more people for the kingdom of God. So we've already been praying. I already know the first city we're going into. We've been designing something behind the scenes to be able to, we'll come to you when we're ready on that, but we're getting those designs in plan. But here's the point, guys. You need to understand, I want to close on this end. Vertical Church will never be big enough until all the members of your family know Jesus. Till all the people in your neighborhood know Jesus. To all the people you work with, week after week, to all the people you encounter when you shop at the stores, when you frequent events, when you go out to the places, the people you encounter, to all of them know Jesus, we will never be big enough. We believe that lives are precious. We believe there's too much at stake. And so therefore, we're going to continue to make the gospel as we do it, as relevant and as simple and as accessible as possible. Because we want to see people maybe even raised in churches that have just turned their head away and go, man, I don't want anything like what I was raised with. We want them to take a second look. We want them to maybe reconnect again. And to others, the church has never been on their radar, to take a chance on something different. Take a chance on something that's relevant. Take a chance on something where people love one another, where community is real and genuine in the hearts and lives of people, where people who are far away from God feel welcome in this place or wherever we multiply it to. So guys, I'm excited. I believe our future is bright. I believe, why not us and why not now? I believe for such a time as this, God is opening up this opportunity because we have a choice. You could sit back on our laurels and look at all we have done, or we can look to the future and say, God, here are we. The challenges are not beyond us. We're willing, we're able, and we're ready to do whatever you tell us to do because the stakes are high, but we are the people that you have called. And for this time, we believe you have uniquely outfitted us and given us what's necessary to do your will and finish this work that's called the Great Commission. I hope you share my enthusiasm and excitement because I believe our future is bright.